What's goody? It's your host Jay Rose as always, and as you can see, we got this article: NBA trade big board, realistic landing spots for top 10 potential trade targets. We gonna get straight into it, and before we start, I apologize for the lack of content. The semester ended, and I thought I was gonna be all this energy. I'm about to make all the videos, and I got tired. Like, I've been dumb tired. Like, I just didn't feel like it. But we do have this article here. NBA trade spots for the top 10 targets. So Jimmy Butler's on the cover, and we all know Jimmy Butler's been a hot topic these past couple weeks. Another guy, first on their list actually, Jonathan Kuminga. And Jonathan Kuminga, I think it's a very interesting player to look at for trades. Landing spots, they're saying Charlotte, Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Portland, and Utah. And honestly, it looks like this is kind of a deal. If he were to go to, say, Utah, it would be for Lowry, to get Lowry in Golden State. If he were to go to the Heat, it would be to get Jimmy Butler in Golden State. I don't know what they would trade in Charlotte or Portland or Chicago or Detroit that would help them. Like, I feel like at that point, there's nothing really on those teams that would make me want to trade Kuminga. But for Lowry and for Jimmy to throw Kuminga in there, maybe Podziemski and maybe a Moses Moody, something like that, and see what you get from that. And maybe you get a Jimmy Butler, maybe you get a Lauri Markkanen. Those are two guys that can really help the Golden State Warriors right now. They're trying to actually win games, and they've been pretty decent. They've went on a little losing streak, but they've been decent this year, to say the least. So I don't think some of these trades are okay. Like I said, Miami and Utah, I'm a fan of that. Besides that, not great. DeAndre Ayton is making a pretty penny, so I think it's going to be really hard to trade him, especially because $34 million is not really 14 and 10 with bad defense. Like, I don't think that's amazing. Landing spots, we got Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets, Indiana Pacers, Toronto Raptors. I think Toronto could use him for sure. I think Toronto is building something, a young core, and getting him to Toronto, putting him with Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett and Quickly, who hasn't played this year, Grady Dick, it could be a decent pickup for them. And that's an easy double every night. But I just don't think defensively he offers what you need in a center for that price tag. Like, that's a very hefty price tag for somebody that's going to get beat in the paint most of the time, in my opinion. Walker Kessler is a very good budget center. I think what DeAndre Ayton lacks in defense, Walker Kessler has that. I'm looking at some of these teams. If I was the Lakers, if you can really get a package where you don't have to give up too much and you get Walker Kessler in return, I don't think that's a bad thing. Some of these other teams, Atlanta, I feel like Atlanta, that's you have Onyeka Okongwu there, you have Clint Capella there. I think they're also trying to trade Clint Capella, but I guess so. It could make your timeline a little younger. Have two legit centers that you can have and be an anchor to your defense. The Knicks need a center desperately, so I think this would be actually a really good trade for the Knicks. If there's one team on this list that I would say needs to trade for him, I guess the Pelicans too, but they don't have a lot of assets. The Knicks don't have a ton of assets anymore either, now that I think about it. But either way, they are in desperate need of a backup center, and having a center who plays defense would absolutely help them out. Point blank period. Like, there's no other way to really spin that. Like, Cat has been a monster offensively this year. He's been an MVP candidate. I can't say anything about Karl-Anthony Towns offensively. Defensively, boy, Karl-Anthony Towns' defense looks shot on the Knicks. So if Cat gets you some buckets, goes to the bench, you sub in Walker Kessler, he gives you some really good defense, I think that's a match made in heaven, personally. Ooh, Time Lord. I forgot about Time Lord. Robert Williams, man. We got landing spots of Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets, Indiana Pacers, Lakers, Hornets, Pelicans. So pretty much just the same teams that they're trying to push all these players to. I think Rob Will is actually just a good player to have on your team. Third center in a row, much cheaper than Ayton, but more expensive and riskier than Kessler. I believe that. I think Time Lord at his best when he was on the Celtics was a defensive stopper. Seriously, he got into foul trouble and he's a very injury prone player. That's the problem with Robert Williams. If he can stay on the court and he can stop fouling, that's literally a defensive stopper. He's a monster on defense and he rebounds the ball really well. So that's a great pickup for $12 to $14 million if he can play. But the if is a really big if. If I'm Los Angeles, I'm not taking that risk, because you don't have a lot of wiggle room if you're Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Like, If he gets hurt and you traded some guys for him, it's like, all right, what do we have now? Like we're back at square one, probably square zero, because we traded assets for him and he's not on the court. So I wouldn't take that risk for LA. The Pelicans, like I said, need a center. I wouldn't take that risk if I'm the Pelicans either. I think he'd be a great fit on the Hornets, actually, with LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and them. I think that would be a great fit. I'm not mad at that. Cam Johnson is a hot commodity, so I feel like most teams want Cam Johnson. Let me see where the landing spots are. The Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Grizzlies, and the Kings. The Kings, they need spacing for sure, and I think they wouldn't mind having some defense. I feel like 3-and-D guys, that's just always a thing that you would like. The Lakers obviously would love Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, there's a lot of players that I literally would trade for Cam Johnson. Like, I think I might trade D'Angelo Russell for Cam Johnson, just because of what Cam Johnson brings to the table as a player, offensively, defensively, spacing the floor. That's perfect for most scenarios. So yeah, like I said, I think just Cam Johnson is just a hot commodity. I think most teams would love to have Cam Johnson on their roster. So I think any team that has the assets and the means to trade for him without overpaying should probably trade for Cam Johnson. Clint Capella, that's a pretty penny, man. That's a pretty penny. Capella is 30. And the Hawks are really young too, so I definitely agree with trading Clint Capella off the roster, but he is a good center. The Lakers could use Clint Capella, but like I said, $22 million is a pretty penny. Pelicans could use Clint Capella, and I have no complaints with that. The Pelicans, the Raptors, I don't know what he would do on Washington. Like, I don't even know why you would put Washington in a trade finder with a vet. Like, what are they going to do with Clint Capella? That's not changing anything for their team. Portland, if they're looking to trade Ayton, I don't see why you get Capella. He's still pretty expensive. I guess he's going to be a free agent in July, so a lot of these teams would just be freeing up cap if they were to make a move like that. So sure, I don't think that moving Clint Capella would move the needle in the NBA too much. BI. He's also an unrestricted free agent in 2025, which I think is very, very interesting. The Lakers, the Hawks, the Jazz. I'm not sure if I would like BI on the Lakers, because BI, I feel like, A, that's a ball dominant guy. B, I feel like he's just like, I don't think he's a good enough 3-point shooter to be on the Lakers and have him, because his role is really going to get minimized if he goes to the Lakers. He's not going to be as ball dominant as he is on the Pelicans, and that's just a given when you play with LeBron and then you add in Anthony Davis. So I feel like he, as a third option, I don't think Brandon Ingram is a good fit on the Lakers. Now, a team that's not here that would be a great fit for Brandon Ingram: the Nuggets. Talk to me. The Nuggets would go crazy. The Nuggets would actually go crazy. Switch out Michael Porter Jr., who's a guy who's gotten better over the years, but off the dribble, he's just not amazing. He does kind of need other guys to get him going, like Jokic and Murray. But I think if you put BI in that situation, BI can create his own shot. He can shoot three. He can shoot a mid-range. He can get to the basket. I think BI would be a great fit on the Nuggets, and that would fix a decent amount of their problems with shot creation for sure. D'Lo. I feel like a D'Lo trade is inevitable. Landing spots back to the Nets, the Pistons, the Pelicans, the Blazers, the Wizards, and the Jazz. Like, yeah, the Brooklyn Nets trade would obviously just to be bringing Cam Johnson over, literally. The Pistons trade, I don't even know who they would get from the Pistons. Like, is anybody on the chopping block on the Pistons for real? Like, what are you trading for is my question. Like, what, going to the Pelicans for what? You think they're going to give you, like, Trey Murphy or Herb Jones? Because that's not happening. And then you got, like, who? DeJounte? They just got DeJounte. I don't think they would trade him. Portland has 12,000 guards. They got Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons. That's not great. The Wizards, who do you want on the Wizards? Kuzma back? I think that would be a little interesting, getting Kyle Kuzma back on his team. I don't think he's shooting at a well enough clip to be great on the Lakers, but he was good on the Lakers once upon a time, and he shot really well while he was there. So maybe, who knows? But I just don't think that's the move. And to Utah, you'd have to get Laurie in return, and I have no complaints about that. Laurie at the 4, AD at the 5 would go absolutely crazy. Jimmy Butler was waiting for this guy. And the trade spots are the Nuggets, Warriors, Rockets, and Grizzlies. I am very, very happy that they did not put the Mavericks on this list. We do not want Jimmy Butler. I might think about it a little more now that Luka's going to be out for a month, but it's only a month. We do not want Jimmy Butler. The Nuggets, obviously, they need the shot creation, and I'd argue they need the defense too. I'm not sure what they probably have to give up MPJ, which would be giving up a great 3-point shooter in exchange. But I think the defense that you get from Jimmy and the leadership that you get from Jimmy, along with the scoring and the repertoire, what he does in the playoffs, I think that's definitely an upgrade. So I'd say, yeah, there. Warriors, y'all don't got a second star. Point blank period. You got Steph Curry and company. So I think it would be really, really beneficial if they could pull off a trade like this to get Jimmy Butler onto their team. They just need another guy. I think this team is a guy away from being really, really competitive. Because they're competitive without having a second option and a second star. I think they just need somebody who can consistently take the load away from Steph Curry. And nobody on the Warriors can really do that on a consistent basis. So I think bringing Jimmy would go crazy. The Rockets, I don't know how I feel about that because they've been talking about this since the offseason. The Rockets are a nice young team. They're like second in the West right now. I don't see why you bring in a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler making $48 million unless you can find a way to make sure most of your young stars stay. I think they're looking at Jalen Green as expendable, and Fred VanVleet would probably go in just to fill that contract. And then you got Jimmy Butler, but I don't know, bro. Like, the synergy on that team is really good. I might be underselling Jimmy Butler a little bit, but that's just how I feel about that situation. Like, I'm just looking at the Thunder. I feel like let your young stars grow and then make moves where you see holes in your roster. I don't think trading your core pieces for a star right now would be the best move, but that's just me. And the Grizzlies, I think, especially since Desmond Bane has been pretty bad this year, and they have a lot of young pieces, especially off the bench, that they can possibly put into a trade for the Miami Heat. So I think Memphis could be good. Honestly, any place that has some decent spacing that needs a second star, Jimmy Butler would be a good fit. I'm not mad at any of these. I'm just a little skeptical on the Rockets, but I'm not really mad at any of these trade destinations. I think a change of scenery would be great for Jimmy, and I'd like to see him compete on another roster with that's moving some pieces around. Like, Jesus, Miami don't make no trades ever, bro, and they're probably not going to trade him, to be honest. He's probably just going to walk. Malik Beasley, landing spots almost 29, but every team has at least one contract it would like to part ways with. I'm confused. It says Malik Beasley or just cap space. Why would you trade? Malik Beasley is the league leader in 3-pointers right now. Am I wrong about that? It is Malik Beasley. So what are we talking about? Malik Beasley, he's not a crazy scorer or anything like that, but he's made 122 threes, which is first in the NBA this season, at a 42% clip. Excuse the fuck out of me? Since when is that something you trade for cap space? First of all, how old is Malik Beasley? Oh, hold on. Let me see. How old is Malik Beasley, bro? He's 28. He's 28, bro. He's 28 and he's a crazy 3-point shooter this season. On Detroit, why would you trade that? He's averaging 16 points for y'all. Salary dump for $6 million? That's a steal. Am I missing something? The top shooter in the league for $6 million. I guess, bro. Honorable mention, Vooch. Vooch should not be an honorable mention. He's just on the picture. Players to keep a close eye on: Kyle Kuzma, Vucevic, Valanciunas, Malcolm Brogdon, Lonzo Ball, DeAndre Hunter, Jakob Poeltl, Jaden Springer, Day'Ron Sharpe, Bruce Brown, PJ Tucker, Bones Highland. I wanted Bones Highland to leave a long time ago. I think Anthony Simon's time in Portland should be coming to an end soon as well. I think he needs to change of scenery. I thought Kuzma could have been a good piece on a contending team. I feel like he's just rotting away on the Wizards pretty much. I wanted him to come to the Mavericks, but he said, I want to play winning basketball, and the Mavericks don't do that. And then we went to the finals, so fuck Kyle Kuzma. Vucevic, I feel like the Bulls should just be having a fire sale. Like, they should have been having a fire sale every year. I don't know why Zach LaVine's name isn't on this list. He's been playing good basketball, so his contract doesn't look as bad as it did last season. Jonas Valanciunas, I don't know why he signed with the Wizards to begin with. He could have been playing good basketball. He should have went to the Lakers. Like, on a very serious note, he signed a very small contract to play with a shit team. He should have went to the Lakers. I don't know why he ever signed there. Lonzo Ball, he could be good, but he's just not staying on the court. Like, I was very excited to see him come back this season, and he did look good when he did play, but he's just not playing. I don't see why the Hawks trade DeAndre Hunter. He's been having like one of his best seasons this year. So I don't know why we'd keep a close eye on that. That would be one of the players I'd want to keep, but all right. Bones Highland, I'd like for him to get an opportunity somewhere. I think he's a good offensive player, but maybe that doesn't happen. Marcus Smart has been bad his entire tenure with the Grizzlies, so I'd want to get him off the books too. And yeah, I think this trade deadline could be really interesting. I'm not sure if Jimmy's going to get traded, but I think D'Lo, BI, some of these other guys, Cam Johnson, Kuminga, there's a decent amount of guys that I think could definitely get traded this offseason. If you mess with the video, leave a like, bro, and subscribe. If you got any more trades that you think would be cool, you can leave them in the comments. I'll respond, tell you what I think. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.